In today's video, we are going to unbox and take a first look at this guy. This is the Garmin Enduro 2 smartwatch and basically one of the best training watches that you can find on the market right now. I have been using a Garmin Fenix 7 for some time, and before that I was using a Garmin Instinct 2S Solar, so I'm getting a little bit more and more used to the Garmin ecosystem, and I really wanted to try this one since it is one of the top of the line training watches that you can find on the market, and see how much it differed to those other devices that I've been testing out. In this video we will just unbox, set it up and try out a few of the features for the first time, and then I will be making more in-depth review as I've tried this watch a little bit longer. Here we have the smartwatch presented from the side. You can see the 3 buttons on one side. Then we have the front being displayed like this, and we have the other side being displayed with the 2 buttons that it comes with there. And then the next one only says Garmin on it. Below here we got some specifications, but it doesn't actually say much. It has a bit of logos for what it is certified for. That is pretty much it for the box. So let's bring out an appropriately sized unboxing knife and then cut this little flap here to get into the box. That's a pretty nice opening experience. Very slowly but steadily the lid comes off and it presents you with the main product, the Garmin Enduro 2. Garmin's always come with this little sticker on them to show off an example watch face. However, the unboxing experience I found were usually not that terrific. They come presented very nicely, but then it's a very basic ingredient list in the box. Like there's not any fancy stuff going on here. It's an environmentally friendly and kind of simple packaging usually. But let's take out this watch and then see what is in the package. As you can see, this comes mounted on the sports strap here, which is one of the straps that is included with the Enduro 2. Putting that to the side at first, let's have a look at the other accessories here. This box of accessories comes out, and then this is empty. Opening this box, we first find another wristband, which is a silicone one, and this is with quick fit, so you can just put this in place instead. And I think it's very nice that they include 2 wristbands with this one. It would be nice if they did with some more models, although this is one of the most premium Garmin devices on the market, so it's really making sense that they include several wristbands here. Then we have the USB cable, and this is a proprietary cable with the Garmin connector and a USB-A in the other end. There is a little quick start guide, which is handy to have if you have never used this product before, because the navigation of Garmin watches can be a little bit hard to get into at first. And last but maybe also least, we have safety and warranty and product information that I'm not sure if a lot of people would be reading that thoroughly. That is it for everything that is in this box. So now let's move the accessories to the side and have a look at the setup and first use of the Enduro 2. Let's first take it out of this packaging. The first thing I was a little bit curious about this device is how big it will feel. And right now I have been on the Garmin Fenix 7 and trying that out for some time. And the regular Fenix 7 felt really big in the beginning, but then I've been really getting used to it. Now, the Enduro 2 is for sure a bigger device compared to the Fenix 7, but it doesn't feel awkwardly big in comparison. So bringing in the Fenix 7 here, you can see the difference in size. I think maybe I could even get comfortable with wearing a large watch like this one. In terms of weight, I think they are quite similar right now, because this wristband, the leather wristband that I have on the Fenix 7, is quite heavy. And this has a really lightweight wristband on it. So that probably adds to a similar total weight of the 2 devices. Let's take off this little sticker. And then we're gonna see if there is any charge in this device. The first time I used the Garmin device, I had no idea about how to do anything. But now I know that you can press the light button, which is the left hand upper button, and that is the button where you start it up. Now it says Enduro, and then the backlight comes on. Enduro 2 and a little bit of animations. It is having a loading screen. It says ready in a bunch of different languages. And then I have to accept that. Okay, cool. I didn't get that at first. Then we come to a language selector. I'm gonna choose it in English. And then it asks me if I want to pair it with the phone. Currently, I don't want to pair it with the phone because I want to see the basic features without using the phone. I get to choose the distance, and this I will set to kilometers. I get to choose my time format, which I will set to 24 hour. I get to choose the date format, birth year. And then to scroll in lists, you are using the buttons on the left-hand side. The middle one is the up button, and the lower one is the down button. Confirming that, I get to choose my height. I have no idea how they thought this was going to be easy to understand. But okay, I'm 1.9 and then 3. 193 centimeters. Not 100% sure. I don't weigh myself that often, but I'm gonna guess it's 90. What wrist is your watch on? This is gonna be on my left. When do I wake up? And now when you see I'm in here, you can also see that there's a touch screen here. So if you don't wanna press the buttons, you can just scroll in the touch screen like this, which is not super handy for this kind of menu, but for other menus where you can click and swipe, it's pretty handy. And the touchscreen is also implemented in Fenix 7, so I got quite used to using the combination of the buttons on the side and the touchscreen. You really get into a flow of when you want to use one or the other. And now I'm gonna say that I wake up at 6 o'clock. Enable do not disturb during sleep. I don't use it with notifications, so I guess set up time. We're gonna set it manual at first, because it's usually pretty annoyingly slow to find GPS signal when you're indoors. Maybe that's not the case with the Enduro 2 actually, but with the Fenix 7 it took some time. Alright, and there we have it, set up with the first of the standard watch faces that it comes included with. I think this watch face looks pretty nice, and it's got some decent info on it. The watch face that I've been getting used to right now, this one, and it's got a plethora of different informations. But when you only look at it like this, you only see the time, and you really have to look at it in depth if you want to see the other things. But I found it super helpful to have this available with the date, the sunset time, the sunrise time, moon phases, step counts, your pulse. Pretty much everything you need is there. But it's not easily visible, so you don't have to see it all the time. Now that we have started it up, let's have a look at the different sides of the watch here. You have the front, of course, with these yellow accents around, and a pretty plain front, I think. It's much more plain than I thought it would be. I thought I would find it quite annoying with those yellow accents, but I kind of enjoy it when I see it. You have the 3 buttons on the left-hand side. This is for backlight and flashlight, also reaching the quick navigation. You have the middle one, which is navigation up when you want to go to the glances, and it is also for settings when you hold it. And you have the navigation down, which is not set up to any really meaningful feature from the start. If you long press that, you get into the music settings, and this is something I personally haven't used much at all with my Garmin watches, so I'd usually adjust it to something else. But it is a quick navigation for whatever purpose you want to use it for. On the right hand side here you have the very yellow greenish button, which is the start activity button, and you use that to go into the menu where you can choose your activities. And then when you scroll down and select an activity, you will also select with this one. So always this works as your select button. And then the second button on the right hand side is your back button. And in whatever menu or glance you are, if you click that button, you come back to the previous stage where you were. So going into the activities, you go back. This also works as a lap button, or posture button, or whatever you want to call it when you are in different activity profiles. So these two buttons are really used a lot when it comes to the different workout profiles. You can set this at long press to trigger some app or activity, but from the start it is not triggering any activity. It just vibrates a little bit and then nothing else is happening. At the bottom here you can see the pulse meter, and this one has a bunch of different features. It's the newest generation of the Garmin pulse meters, and it is, from what I know, quite accurate and working well. Then you also have the charging port, which is the regular proprietary Garmin charging port. Except that there's not too much to look at down here. One thing that differs a bit in Enduro 2 compared to other Garmin watches is that it's a thicker boat. So this one is made to host an as big battery as possible. And I'm not sure yet if this makes it feel bulkier on the wrist, but let's put it on my wrist and see how I feel about it. I realized right away that when taking this strap off, it was not super easy to put back in, but let's see. I'm gonna use a little bit of force. Come on, little wristband. Okay, finally. So let's try it on for the first time and see. Right, and then it comes off at both ends to make the strap big enough to be able to put it on. I'm not used to this kind of strap, that's for sure. But it is very seamless, the strap. You can make it adjusted to the exact millimeter where you want it. It looks kind of sporty, I think, compared to the leather band that I was using previously. And that definitely gives a total more of a sporty look. And comparing the sizes as well, it's very clear that the Fenix 7 together with this wristband gives off a less sporty vibe than the Enduro 2 with this kind of fabric wristband that we have here. Since I just spent quite a bit of time with the Fenix 7, I just want to do a quick walkthrough of how you navigate the Garmin watches if you're not used to them. Basically, you're using these side buttons to get into the glances. And here you have more information, and you just scroll down through the glances and you click the glance to be able to get into the app or the screen of that one. If you want to go back, you press the right bottom button and then you're back at the glances. So there are a bunch of different glances and you can add more, and you can just explore by going through each one of them and then clicking in. Now when there's no data here, there's not too much to see. So if I go into the steps like this and then I scroll down, I have the streak over a few days. Here I only have the last 12 hours, the last few days, and then the last screen is the distance that it calculated based off of my steps. Going back, you scroll down, click into heart rate, you have a similar thing, current heart rate and the last 4 hours, and then you scroll and you get your 7-day average. And this actually works really well, and you get very into scrolling through the glances that you find valuable, and then getting more in-depth data where you actually need it. If you go down to the bottom, you can edit and put in more glances. Anywhere you are in the watch where there are settings available, you can click the middle button, and then instead of taking you to glances, it will take you to settings. And here you can set watch face, clocks, you can have history, and then you have activities and apps, notifications and alerts, appearance, sensors and accessories, maps, music, connectivity, audio prompts, user profile, safety and tracking, health and wellness, navigation, power manager, and system settings. I might make an in-depth video going through all the different selections, all the different settings and apps, but that will be at a future date when I'm more played in with the Garmin ecosystem. Right now I have about a month of experience with Garmin watches. If you click up on the top button, you turn on and off the backlight. And this, of course, you can adjust with different intensity so that you can have more backlight and less backlight. But there is a second feature to this one. If you hold the backlight button, you come into the quick navigation. And here you have a bunch of different things you can access. For example, the Garmin Pay is there. And I haven't customized it that much, but I feel like this is something that you can really use to your needs and work out what apps am I using the most, what features am I using the most, and then set up quick navigation for those so that you always have them accessible. And you also have the opportunity to make more quick navigations like the one that takes you into here. So if you want this to not bring out the quick navigation, you can change it. If you want the double press there or the long press there to bring up something special, you can select that. One thing that is very particular though about this one is that if you double tap on the backlight button, you start the flashlight. And this has a pretty strong flashlight, and you can also adjust the flashlight to a bunch of different levels and use several features together with the flashlight. And this is something that I think will actually come in handy a lot of the time, both when running and doing outdoor activities, but also when doing everyday activities, because having a flashlight available on your wrist and not have to pick anything up is something that I've been missing quite often in my everyday life. It sounds weird to say, but if you're like me, you bring out your phone a lot to use the flashlight. I prefer to not have to use my phone for an occasion like that. Then having it on the wrist feels like a great upgrade. If you click the top right button, you get into the activities. And this watch and all the Garmin watches come with a plethora of activities that you can choose from. They don't only track like the pulse and they don't only track your distance and stuff, but they have specific features in each and every app that you can set up and tailor exactly the way that you want. So for example, if you are in the yoga app, you can select if you want to get guidance for what yoga postures you should do. If you are in the running app, you can select exactly what screens you want it to show. And if you want to focus on your course, focus on your pace, or focus on something completely different. So it takes a lot of time to get into how you want to set it up for maximizing the benefit that you can have from this. But I feel like you start with something which is just going into Activity Manager and then selecting the activity you're going to do, make sure that it is tracking it, and then you can customize it as you go along and don't feel that you have pressure to like set it up the perfect way. I think this is something that will really come for everyone as you get through the different activities. One thing that definitely makes sense to do at an early stage is to select the activities that you use the most and put them up top in the list. So as you can see here, I have run, walk, I set up a custom meditation activity, custom dance activity, breathwork, yoga, bouldering, bike, gravel bike, ice skating, which is also custom, indoor rowing, indoor biking, strength, and then the health snapshot. And these are pretty much all the different training profiles that I'm using, so I will always have them quickly accessible. And right now the Enduro 2 seems to want me to select what will be my preferred training profiles. So I think just because it wants me to, I'm going to select a few of the ones that I use quite often. So that will be hike, bike, bike indoor, gravel bike, strength, bouldering, walk, yoga, breath work, and that's it for me. So now that I selected those, it put those up in the top. And then when I scroll through all of them, I come down to another set of activities, which are Navigate, Expedition, Track, Map, Map Manager, Connect IQ, and Enduro Demo. And here's the thing, if you add apps from the Connect IQ store, which is something you can do with the app from your phone or immediately here, they will pop up here. So you find all your apps by going into the activity manager. I didn't find that completely understandable at first, but if it's not a glance that you've added, then you will find the app and the information here in this list. If you want to add something more, you have all the activities to choose from here in this list, and you will just add it and it will appear in the activities list, where basically only the activities that you use regularly will be in that activity list. It is a bigger watch for sure, but I'm not sure yet if I find it too big or if it's just like, the first time you put something on, it's always gonna feel quite big. This also comes down to how big your wrists are, and I don't think my wrists are huge, but also it's not coming out on the sides of my wrists, so it's an okay size. And the thing is here, when I used this one, I felt like I'm using this as an everyday watch and I keep it on all the time, and that's great for some reasons. But for some reasons it's not that great, because I get really attached to the data that is in this device. And I start looking at this data like body battery and sleep score and stuff, and I think I put a little bit too much value in that data that the Garmin watch is providing. So one of the things I want to actually create by getting an Enduro 2 is that I'm wearing it when I need to wear it. And then I'm totally fine to take it off and wear one of my standard watches that is not smart when I don't want to be tracked at all times during the day. I will be testing out the Enduro 2 a little bit more in depth over the upcoming weeks, and then I will come back with a full review on it. At the same time, I will also be working on a review on the Garmin Fenix 7 and maybe even a little bit of comparison material between the two watches, because I think I'm not the only one who is comparing between these two devices, and maybe even more so comparing between the Fenix 7X, which is the larger variant of this guy, and the Enduro 2. So I will be making some comparison content, and I'm looking forward to this little different phase of tech content on this channel. And that is it for my unboxing and first look of the Garmin Enduro 2. I'm quite excited to try out the watch, although it feels a little bit bulky and sporty, and probably I will be using it less, which might even be a good thing. That will be for me in the testing period to find out and see how this compares to previous smartwatches that I have been on. If you have any questions or anything specific that you want me to bring into the review, please put that in the comment section below. I usually read all the comments and I'm pretty quick to reply. I hope you have a really nice day, and then I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!